football. I'm like, you don't know a goddamn thing about football.
Well, number one, Alan, let me just say, we were about to do a review. I was minding my own business, looking down at my phone, like just doing my playlist, and Corey's like, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" I'm doing my fantasy football thing, and Corey was like, "What the fuck? What?" And he looked at me like I'm selling slaves or something. I swear to God. The complete disdain, disappointment. And who else is in the room? Leon and Cyrus. And Cyrus goes, "What? Why are you doing that? What the fuck?" And I'm like,
Football.
Oh my God. Really, dude? Really? Dude,
Honey,
really?
You better read some Spider-Man.
Oh my God.
Leon, give him a Batman book now.
Please. Foosball's the devil.
Football? Don't tell me you're one of them now.
Not one of them. And that's exactly what I got. I was one of them. Finally, Alan. Everyone was looking at me, judging me, Alan, judging me. Like, just, and Corey's like, why? And I swear to God, this is what you said, Corey. You were like, why are you doing that? Were you trying to be cool? I was like, what? And I looked at him, and I look at the other guys, they're kind of laughing. I'm just like, what? Trying to be cool.
Joe Cool. Look at Joe Cool over here.
How's that make what? I'm just minding my own business. But man, I get so much shit. Not even from Corey, shyly, but from Cyrus. Cyrus even wanted to know the name of my team, and I was like, well, "So what's the name of your team?" And I told him, "It's the Fright Zone Hordaks."
See,
man,
you can't get away from your nerdom, honey.
Yeah, no, you can't get away. Man, that's dumb. And I'm just like, what? Really?
Not in all fairness.
But I have to say, Leon did stick up for me at that moment, because I just looked at him, I'm like, you asked me a question, I give you talking shit to me, and
that's
Leon
right. He did
like,
say you asked him.
Yeah, Leon was like, why are you giving him shit when you asked him? He's like, look, I'm just saying, all right. And he had that look like, look, I have to point out how dumb this is, okay? I have to.
And he was smacking his lips. I'm just trying to help him.
Yeah. Help me pull my fucking hair out.
He got nerd queer eye for the straight guy real quick.
And then all of a sudden, it's just jokes left and right, Alan. Jokes about what I'm doing. And I'm like, look, man, I'm hanging out with my boys. They've been looking for another player. I see them all the time. I'm like, you know what? I've never done this. This is something new. I'm getting tired of like hanging out with all these geeks all the time, knowing all the same shit I do. Everyone's talking about Batman. Everyone's talking about Avengers every 10 minutes. It's like, I kind of want to get away from that and just do something fresh and new that I think could possibly be fun, hanging out with my buddies and drinking. And on top of that, looking at some nice ladies every once in a while at the sports bars, Alan. Does that sound crazy to you?
That day he was saying all that, he's like, I'm tired of you nerds. I'm tired of Avengers and comic books and funny books and all that, while he was wearing a Pinhead shirt. A Pinhead from Hellraiser.
Look, man.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was his Castle Grayskull shirt.
Look, man, that shit is cool. All right. I almost made name my team the Castle, the Grayskull Battle Cats. I was like, nah, I don't sound fierce enough. I got it. It's all about intimidation, Alan.
The Beastman Brawlers.
Yeah, I get shit. They start calling my team the Cringers. Got to be careful, Alan.
Now, the reason why is, of course, I was giving you shit because, but not because I was saying like, hey, man, don't do that.
Yeah.
Because listen, I like I said, I'm not a person who has an aversion to sports. I like sports.
I've heard you talk about sports. We've talked about sports like, it's been a while, but we've talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. In fact, Leon and I the other night, when everybody walked out, we sat around and talked about the UT game and how UT's starting to fuck up.
How they are fucking awful.
How their defense is really bad. How
they're fucking terrible.
Yeah, I watched that old Miss game that they played.
Yeah,
and so we talked about that. So look, I wasn't making fun of you. Well, yeah, I was making fun of you. But,
you were.
No, I was. But I was doing it
were you trying to be cool? What?
I was doing it in a friendly jabbing way. I wasn't judging you. I wasn't doing that thing like, ugh, football. Really? I was just wondering, all of a sudden, where did that come from? I was like, did somebody, because it went from Yeah, I got a fantasy football team. Man, I'm tired of geekery. I can't be fucking with geeks no more. You fucking geeks. And
Well, I said
like,
that.
Okay, did somebody say something to you that insulted your manhood? And you was like, you know what? I got to get
Cyrus.
football and stick. It was
Cyrus. It was Cyrus, yeah. As soon as I heard Cyrus go, so you're going to those sports bars where, all the guys are like hanging out and drinking beer and looking at women in a misogynistic way. And I'm like, wait, what? How many times have we hung out? All of us. And I've seen these guys like go crazy over chicks, like practically jumping on their backs, trying to like knock them over the head.
Well, if you notice,
take them back to the cave. What the hell?
You notice Leon got real quiet then because he was like,
oh, I know.
What? I'm that guy.
I know. He started laughing when Cyrus said it, and then I noticed him stop real quick because I looked at him. I'm like, motherfucker, don't please.
I done been over to Hooters a couple of times, my man Leon, in the name of crawfish. Negro, you here for some titties.
He pulls out his $20 bill. Yeah. It's like, hey, man, they don't do that.
Yeah, you here for some, yeah, we got kicked out, man. The chick came up, he was trying to stuff some dollars down the orange shorts. She's like, what the fuck you doing?
You see that wooden post right there in the middle of the restaurant? Can you like do a dance on that thing or something?
No touching.
No touching my wings.
Leon's the only one to walk in the Hooters talking about, where the champagne room
He already starts picking out his waitress. Like, I'll take that one, and I'll take that one, and right there. You guys got any specials today?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
three for one.
Yeah, he went in. In fact, we went there. He said, I had the crawfish platter, large Coke, and side titties, please. Excuse me?
and some legs. And I don't mean them kind of legs. I don't mean chicken legs.
I'm sorry, sir. What did you say? All right, I'll have a large Pepsi and some titties. Get out. All right, I'll just have some titties.
Some titties with the sweetest sauce you got. Oh, my
man,
God.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Man, somebody must have said something to you somewhere.
I knew it was. I knew it was going to come along. I knew it was going to happen as soon as I got involved.
Because I don't blame you.
Look, like I said, I like breaking up the monotony because the last few years, especially around the fall, I'm always trying to find something to do, just something. My motto this past year has been just always keep busy, even if you can't like do anything like, I don't know, do more shows or find like I always like doing acting every once in a while. Find something just to get involved with. I'm like, you know what? Why don't I try this fantasy football thing? It sounds silly and ridiculous, but I have an excuse to go out, hang out with my friends, and do a lot of shit talking and just sit around, laugh. And sure, one of the bonus points is seeing a lot of women in their breastises. So who am I to turn that down? I mean, and plus, I can control myself around women. I'm not there looking to pounce on every woman I see.
You should.
Unlike some people. No, believe me, that gets you in trouble. I should know.
And by the way, this motherfucker's talking about me. You can't get unlike some people in this room. That's not named Alan.
Well, all I got is like, so you're going to go to that bar and you're just going to get a case of blue balls. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to get a case of blue balls. I can always go home and jerk off if it's that bad. Like, believe me, I know a remedy for blue balls. It's called jerking the fuck off. All right, but I was like, look, man, I'm gonna be fine. But I was like, wow, I remember there was a time back in the day when I was really into all my comic books, all my He-Man. And there's a certain group of people that started to persecute me and make fun of me and call me out. They were called fucking jocks at the time, but now it's all of a sudden role reversal. There you go, Alan. Alan raising his hand. You used to do that, Alan? You used to give shit to kids who were reading comic books?
No, but I was a jock.
You were a jock?
Yeah.
No shit. Yeah. What kind of jock?
Football.
Not like one on the horses and stuff, right?
I rode a horse. I whipped his ass to make a run.
I
pulled his teeth out.
I'm too tall for that.
So you play football?
Yeah, football.
Oh, you played football. Okay.
Wide receiver.
Are you still in football?
No.
Not at all? Do you watch the games at all?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Have you ever played fantasy football?
No.
Oh, okay.
Are you in the comic books too?
Used to be.
Used to be. A
Used
little
to
bit.
be? Yeah.
I grew up.
You grew,
Don't tell Cyrus that.
and that's why he's playing fantasy football right now.
Time to grow up, Alan. That's right.
Let that kiddie shit behind.
I know. Every time I go to a convention, all I see is a bunch of guys that look like Cyrus. But when I hang out with my football guys, I see a bunch of women. So and guys that look like Cyrus.
I was about to say, because I don't know where you hanging, but I see both. But I tell you something, man. Look, everybody got their geek side. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a matter of how you keep it in check. Because I always play that shit like, look, everybody knows I'm bullshitting when I'm on here. I'm talking about, oh, you nerds. I don't know nothing about that shit. I don't know what y'all do. Oh, I'm above that shit. Everybody knows I'm full of shit when I do that.
Yeah, I love pro wrestling.
Yeah, see, everybody got their geek shit. I love comics.
I've always known you full of shit.
Of course, I've never hit that. I mean, fucking man, I'm a cartoonist and an animator. You don't get to that point without having a fucking geek side to you.
No, your coworkers were nothing but obsessed Disney fanatics.
No, that's not true now.
Yeah.
Now, some of them, back when I started my first animation job, some of them were, now, do you remember Manny?
Oh, I remember Manny.
Manny was overcompensating for being a man.
You know what? Everyone except Manny.
Actually, and there was a guy I worked with named Ted Chevins.
Okay, I didn't know Ted.
Ted was, he's still a cool guy, man. Ted was, that's what's funny about being in the stuff that I'm doing now, like, especially when you get out of animation, it's more inside animation because people got raised on Disney and shit, and it's more geekery there.
Yeah.
But you find when you get into animation or when you get into illustration work or cartooning, that's where things start to get weird because you think you can come in and assume that everybody's going to be this way. But you can't do that, man, because you'll find that guy that eats steak, fucks all the time, loves football. You don't even see a comic book near him. And somehow he's one of the best artists you've ever met.
Well, you know what? I think sometimes when you're not surrounded by people you admire, you're that much more original with your artwork, I think. And I don't know, because that's the thing. A lot of, just like bands, a lot of my favorite bands, a lot of them don't listen to the same type of music that they play. They listen to all other kinds of things. They all do all other kinds of things. And I always notice that when you notice that character trait about them, it's kind of fascinating because their work is just like, man, you figure their heroes would be the same exact people who everyone else is into. I only say that, well, at least when hanging out with you guys back in the day, especially Jimmy, whenever Jimmy took me to one of his friends' house who worked with you at that studio, everyone, it looked like Disney porn all over their fucking
they just
house.
Ejaculated Disney all over
they were going out of their ways to get every goddamn Happy Meal Disney toy they could get their hands on. They had that shit displayed all over their house.
Ain't nothing more embarrassing than going into McDonald's with a group of adults who go up to the counter and order Happy Meals. All of them. We'll have 10 Happy Meals, please.
Yeah, just so they can get their hands on those little figures.
Get those fucking Disney figures or some shit. Yeah, man. But you know what? See, that's the thing. As years passed, like I said, I learned when I was in high school. My junior year and senior year in high school, I was like, man, you got to learn to keep your geek shit kind of in check. You got to
hide it.
Well, not really hide it. You just got to learn where to play it.
Yeah.
And so I had this whole thing of, I'm not going to do that. Look, I love geek shit, but don't mean I got to dress like one. Don't mean I got to look like one. So I was always working out. I want to wear nice clothes.
See, I took the opposite. I took the opposite route. I embraced what I was into so much so that I almost got. There's a lot of times I almost got into a lot of scuffles, especially the one time I remember I was reading a Batman comic book. And this guy I used to know when I was a little 8-bit little punk. We used to be friends back in the day. It almost seems like an after-school special where this guy I grew up with, we were friends, but as soon as he got into high school, he took that route of like, okay, I'm not into like the geek shit no more. I'm going to be a football player. I'm all about how I look. I'm all about hanging out with the cool people. Well, this guy got this attitude like he didn't know me anymore.
Yeah.
Felt the need to like point me out and talk shit about me in front of my peers, the people I really didn't.
Peeps.
My peeps that I really didn't. I didn't know. I always kept to myself. Never wanted to be bothered. Didn't look to bother anybody. This guy started talking shit to me because I was reading a Batman comic book. He was like, look at you, man, over there reading the fucking funny papers, funny goddamn comic books and bullshit like that.
Well, you had it coming, man.
What the hell? well, he had it coming too, because after a while, he was doing this in this class, and he never got in trouble because guess what? In our class, it was taught by a coach. This coach, though, he was always out of class. He was never there.
Did he ever fuck with you too? Yeah. Why you reading that old faggot ass comic book?
Luckily enough, he kind of knew the type of guy I was, and I think he just never bothered me. Because when I had free time, I was always like into my comics, and he could just kind of look, and I'd always expect, because he's a coach, he's gonna look at me or give me shit or something. But he didn't give me as much shit as some of the other teachers did, who always judged me because of my appearance, because I was in the metal. They thought I worked with the devil. They thought I did all kinds of drugs, and that wasn't my story at all. But this kid, who used to be my friend, started talking shit, did it one too many times, to where I had to get up right during the class.
I walked, stop it!
I rolled my ass right to his class and I said, look, man, you love talking a lot of shit right now. You love talking about what I'm fucking into, even though you're over here at your desk with your fucking baseball cards and your football cards out here on display with a bunch of grown fucking men on them. How's that any weirder than what the fuck I'm doing? I'm reading about a fictional character while you got grown-ass men on your table right here, like you're getting ready to jerk off all of them. You know what? Fuck you. You know, how about you get up right now and let's go. You talk a lot of shit. Let's see you back it up in front of all your fucking friends here. Let's go. Let's fucking do this, all right? And you know what that kid did? He didn't
punched
say,
you.
He didn't say, he didn't say shit.
Really?
But put his fucking head down. And I told him, I was like, you know what? Here's something funny. Here's some information for you. Me and this guy used to be really best friends when we were young. And now he acts like he doesn't know me. Fuck him. I don't need people like him in my life. And I went back to my desk and like, you know what? Leave me the fuck alone. I'm going to read my comic book. And I read my comic book right there. And the bell rang and I got the fuck out of class. And a lot of people were like, hey, man, good for you for stepping up to that dude. And I'm like, yeah, it's too bad I had to do that because you know what? We were good friends back in the day, but he wants to be the cool kid, so let him be the fucking cool kid, but he ain't gonna talk shit to me.
See, what people don't know right now is that co-host is actually in my face. Like, I'm that guy. I'm like, hey, man, okay, get back.
I don't think you were
sorry.
that. I hope to God you weren't that much
you
of an
see me
asshole.
as that guy right now, you motherfucker. My fantasy football. Fuck you. I'll play it if I want to.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Right.
Yeah, what the fuck you got to do? Why are you worried about what I do? Why are you so much up my ass right now?
Cyrus, why you fucking with me? I'm Corey.
Crawl the fuck out of my dick hole, all right?
Well, you know what, man? Listen, I'm not saying you make a good point because I've always said this. First of all, I think that was good you confront a guy like that. And that guy probably put his head down because he was ashamed because he was like, yeah, I really did. I was friends with this guy. I shouldn't have been treating him like this.
Yeah.
Let me put my head down and shame.
Yeah.
I can't face people. But the other thing
He's
is
lucky he put his head down because I would have had him suck my dick.
Damn, that's kind of gay. But okay.
It's all right. I'm making my bitch. That's how I make him humble, Corey.
Yeah, okay. Shit, I knew there was something about you, man. I'm a man.
Hey, what? So what? So you can't be gay now? Is that not cool? Is being gay not cool now?
I can't get my dick sucked?
Yeah, just because I like to get my dick sucked, now I'm the bad guy.
Hey, everybody. This guy used to be a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And look at him now. You know what? I'm going to go back over to my table and get my dick sucked. I don't care who sees it.
Laugh at the homo.
Somebody came up to you and said, hey, man, that was kind of gay. But
that means it's good.
Good for you. No, listen.
Joyous.
I don't think anybody should be ashamed of what they are. I think what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying that people should not be into this stuff, that people who are into what they do are any better than anybody else, or anybody's better than them. I guess what I'm saying is that I want to be this person where I knew how to have social skills. I knew, look, if I was at somebody's house and I was watching, let's say, a game, I didn't want to bring up, oh, that reminds me of the time when Superman in issue number 45. You don't.
No.
Unless it comes up naturally.
Unless somebody's talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I'm at a place where there's comic book people, I'm not going to try and shame them by saying, hey, you see the game last night?
Well,
faggots.
Well, the interesting thing about that, as far as this guy and that year I had to deal with him, was that in a class I had this guy who was like the captain of a football team. This guy looked like Jean-Claude Van Damme. He was the captain of the football team, and this guy had the hottest chicks surrounding him all the time. And I had him in a class, and I remember I was reading a Punisher comic book. I
remember this story. But you go ahead and keep telling me.
I was reading a Punisher comic book, and this guy, he was like, "Hey, man, what is that there?" And I was like, "That's a comic book." And I was like, "This guy's going to give me shit or something." So I was just like, "Yeah, it's just a comic book." He's like, "Man, that's pretty cool. I've been trying to check out some of these comics. Do you recommend it?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, here." I was like, "Hey, just take this and let me know what you think." And he came back to class the next day, and me and him just started like being cool, just talking about regular shit, comic books every once in a while. And it was interesting to see how everyone in that class started to treat me because of the fact that this guy who everyone wanted to be was like just noticing like, man, he must be, I guess he's not as dorky or crazy or satanic as we thought he was.
Did he give you some of his chicks?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? And that's the funny thing too. There was a bitch in this class that was always hanging around him. It was always fucking just on his dick all the time, 24/7. Groupie. And yeah, groupie, exactly. And
he said droopy.
Yeah. and we were in class. And I dropped something, and it hit it brushed by her and hit her foot or something. And she's like, "What the fuck? You know, what the fuck is your problem? Why?" And I just looked at her like, "Bitch." And that guy came over and just like, "Hey, that was an accident. Why don't you calm the fuck down? Why are you treating this guy?" Yeah. And exactly, she was like, "Well," and right when she was going to say something, the guy looked at her and go, "You should apologize to him." And she just looked at me, and she's like, "Well, sorry," and walked away. Like barely said it, walked away. And I was just like, that's pretty cool. And right after that class, we were walking in the hall. Me and him were shooting the shit. And that guy, my former best friend, saw us, and what does he do? He goes, Hey, Coast. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, man? What's up? And this was like a few days after that incident that I had with him, where I looked at my buddy and I was just like, you know, that guy, me and him, we used to be friends. And this guy spent like this whole semester talking shit to me. And now he wants to be my friend because you know what? He sees me hanging out with you.
And
he's always wanting to hang out with your ass. And this guy looked at me. He's just like, man, fuck that guy. And I was like, yeah, fuck him. So, you know, but just that kind of taught me a lesson is how I perceive other people like jocks, because I looked at him just like everybody other geek. There's like, these guys are out to get me or something. But I'm like, you know what? That's when I really learned that, you know, you really cannot judge a book by its cover all the time, especially when you just, you know, when you just get to know people. And especially when you realize some of these guys who you think are like, oh man, they get pussy all the time. You know, they do have kind of like their own little geeky sides about them too, that if you just, you know, get
laid.
Yeah. But you know what? That does help too. Girls start noticing who you're hanging out with, even though it's kind of superficial and ridiculous.
That's why.
You know,
hey man,
you can't believe me. I had girls talking to me, but I was always the one who's like, you know, are they really into me or just because who I'm hanging out with? And I wasn't all into that.
Well, I tell you, that's
even though I could have got lots of pussy. Yeah. It's stupid for me. When I look back, I'm like, man, I could have got a lot of fucking pussy if I wanted to, but that just wasn't me at the time.
Well, that was me at the time. I didn't turn it down. Shit, that's a part of my reason why I said, shit, I better start dressing nice and start talking about goddamn Spider-Man to people. Because shit, I know when I do that, girls kind of turn away. So I left that shit to the side. I mean, look, people always talk about how there's this geek thing and how weird these people are and whatnot. And like I said before, over and over again, I've said in this podcast over and over again, that these sports fans, they are the same thing. They're just more socially accepted, and they like something that people consider to be more manly or is more socially popular with people. I mean, these guys who go to these football games, they dress up in body paint. They take their shirts off. They're fat. They're out there screaming and hollering like a bunch of fools. I mean, if you really want to get down to it, I said this to somebody. I said, you know something? Say what you will about this geek crowd out here, but you never see people at Comic-Con. You never see a guy dressed up like Batman wanting to kill the Joker. Another guy who's dressed up like the Joker. Meanwhile, you got people at soccer games and at football games and basketball games. When they see people who are on the opposite team, they want to beat the shit out of each other.
Oh, yeah. No,
they want to fight each other.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I never saw a guy dressed like Superman wanting to fight another guy that was dressed like Lex Luthor. You know? It's crazy. And here's the other thing. Morgan Spurlock, when One Direction came out, that movie, He said, everybody wants to laugh at these people. Everybody wants to laugh at these Twilight people.
Yeah.
But sports fans are the same way. They're fanatics as much as these teenage girls are about what they like.
Oh, yeah. Even with the Twilight crowd, I was like, come on, guys. You guys were just as fanatical as far as those really terrible fucking prequels. All three of them, which were the dialogue was about just as horrendous.
That's a good point.
As those Twilight movies.
Yeah,
Please,
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
so don't start making judgment calls just yet.
And that's a great point. If you ever come up and say that you love the prequels and you defend that shit wholeheartedly, don't you ever talk anything about Twilight to me. You shut the fuck up.
Yeah. But this whole thing has been kind of a good social experiment in a way.
Hold on. I was starting over because I was getting a slight bit of echo. I need to remember to put that setting right.
Yeah.
But I don't know what Alan's talking about. Alan's like, what about the milfs?
I know. I was like, what?
What about the milk and cookies?
But like I was saying,
what about the milfs?
Well, no, y'all was talking about the Twilight and how it's cool when it comes to the young girls. But what about the
I'm saying they're all fucking crazy. Look, they're all fucking crazy. Every time you go as far as to dress up like somebody and or scream and camp out or whatever for some property, I don't have that kind of fanaticism myself. Now the costume thing, I think that's kind of funny at the appropriate time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you trying to dress up like fucking a superhero and you're trying to fight crime like Phoenix Jones, I think you're a little nutty.
You got something wrong with you. Yeah,
but I think they're all fucking crazy when you get right down to it to a certain extent.
Yeah, but
so I'm crazy too. Shit.
But like I was saying, it's been an interesting social experience. Just letting my friends know about what I'm doing and seeing all their reactions, and also going, wow, in these circles, it's kind of like not cool to be doing what I'm doing, because the first thing they want to know is like, why are you doing this? Or why would you want it? I just don't get sports. I just don't understand it. Why would anybody even care about sports? And it's weird because it does. I don't take it to heart, but it is just fascinating to me how they are just so hell bent about just not going. I don't get that.
Okay,
that's dumb.
Okay, in everybody's defense, and I've known you for years, so this I know, and I'm not saying that. I'm not criticizing you for getting into that. No, I mean, anybody can get into anything.
And if you were, it's so what? It doesn't matter to me. Yeah.
But I'm not.
But I know you're not.
Yes. I mean, why would I? I might rib you about it because it's funny, because that's what we do.
Well, but that's what we do. Yeah, that's what we do in our leagues.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm not. I mean, shit. Anybody can do whatever they want to. I just have to say, I think you probably threw people off because, like I said, I've known you for years, and I know that you were not into football at all. So I think if some people making fun of you and they're being judgmental, saying, I don't know why you're doing that, then that's one thing. I'm not doing that. I'm just making fun of you, just to give you a hard time and have some laughs. But I do know that I think like, okay, that's interesting. You never liked football before, so of course people are going to be curious and probably ask like, well, why? What is it that made you want to get into that?
Well, here's the thing. I've actually for the past few years, I've been watching a lot of the college games. Obviously, we live in Austin, Texas, so Longhorns is a very big deal. All my friends always get together and watch the Longhorn games. I slowly started watching because I like hanging out with my friends. We shoot the shit, we barbecue, whatever, and we'll watch these games. A lot of times, it wasn't something I was all that interested in, but until Colt McCoy started playing for the Longhorns, and watching him play throughout the year, it was like watching a movie. It was like seeing this guy be like the Captain America of this team.
You should have seen the year when Vince Young was playing.
Well, I was there for that year too, just for a little bit, in and out. But just seeing Colt McCoy, and at the very end of his final, I think it was the Rose Bowl game or something, where he threw his arm out. That was to me like a tragic end to watching these games, to where you honestly thought this guy was just like, oh, this is it. This is his game. They're gonna win this bowl, and the guy throws his arm out, and I was like, wow, how fucking tragic is that?
Tragic. He went on to play pro ball. So.
Well, he went to play pro ball, but he was not really like the guy who. I mean,
he already had his contract set.
He was fine. But just I found that whole thing kind of fascinating to me, to where I was surprised because I never really gave a shit.
It's cool. I mean, I can understand why some people, I like someone like Cyrus. I don't go to the extreme disdain that he has for sports, but I do understand that disdain to a certain point.
Sure, I get it.
Because here in Texas, I mean, you see ridiculous shit that's being done with football. I mean, I know people. And I've said this before. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I've known stories where people. We talk about higher learning. We talk about how an institution of higher learning is all about education. They will not tolerate cheating. You know, you would not be a bad reflection on the school. I've known people who have gotten in by cheating on their SATs in the school. Course. And look, I can't really say that I know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure from who told me and how it was told to me that this happened. Somebody got in who had their SATs fudged for them by somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
So that they could go in and play ball.
I've heard plenty of stories like that. And going through high school, it is almost like Invasion of the Pod people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Where they get the treatment, especially in classes with teachers who are either involved in sports or, or just, that's just their thing.
I told you before, if I didn't mention this on this show, or if I did, I'm sorry, because I'm going to bring it up again.
Go for it.
Did I tell you about that thing that happened in Leander?
No.
Where there was this guy who was working. I mean, not working. He was. I forgot his association with this what do you call it? Daycare. But for some reason, he was at a house that was running a daycare or something. And please, people, come in and correct me, because I don't want to say anything wrong about this and really make somebody look bad. But he was accused of touching a child. And I don't know what happened with that, but then he got accused of touching another child. There was indecency with a child or some charge. Yeah. And this guy was a star football player. In the town, they really started defending this guy. They had a barbecue for him in his name.
Yeah, we did. We talked about this. It wasn't on the air. We talked about this before we did one of the shows.
So people don't know. Look it up. And I'm not saying that the guy should be considered guilty right now. I'm not saying that there should be a lynch mob out for this guy. I don't know if the guy is innocent or guilty, but I just think that there should be you should approach this cautiously. How you treat this guy.
Don't have fucking barbecues for the guy.
Don't have a fucking barbecue for the guy. What you do is you sit there and you say, hey, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen. Keep this guy away from children until we know.
Oh, hell yeah.
And let's not say that he's guilty. Let's just kind of keep things compartmentalized until we know for sure. Let's not celebrate this guy.
Yeah, let's
not say this poor kid over here has been raped or anything. Let's just see what happens.
Let's use some common sense with this, because this could be a serious case if it is true. If it's not, just keep people at a distance until we discover and learn if this is the case.
I think there's a sort of disgust among people, especially the nerds and geeks and stuff like that, because these are people who were mistreated just for liking something that might not be as popular as something else. And then but then they have to sit back and see other people who get treated like royalty in their schools or in society. Why? Because they play sports.
Oh yeah, no, that's been the case. Yeah, that's been the case for a long time,
and they get away with shit. Yeah. So I mean, we see the same thing happening with celebrities. Anytime we have somebody who is somewhat of a status figure or someone who's somewhat of a celebrity, we see them getting preferential treatment. I mean, we see people getting off on, we've seen people get off of murder cases just because they probably were a high-profile person. But I understand when geeks look at sports and they look at athletes and look at jocks. I mean, these are people who probably got picked on by jocks.
Look at OJ.
That's what I'm saying. And these are people who probably got picked on by jocks, and they say, hey, who's standing up for me? And people say, oh, shut up. Why? Because the person that's picking on them is somebody that is a huge status symbol within athletics.
It is interesting because now, these days, it seems like more geek culture has really taken over. It's definitely taken over our movies. It's taken over summer movies like crazy. And just seeing the popularity of geek culture get to the point where, I mean, it's a huge group of people now where, I mean, I don't know if I won't say that it outmatches the sports fans by any stretch.
Oh, no.
But just at least in our circles, you feel like that's like the majority. I mean, we hang out with more geeky people than we actually do sports people. I mean, I know very few honest to God sports people, even though growing up, I was always kind of surrounded by them, especially like trying to get into little leagues. I mean, the sports community has had effect on my life, definitely. They pointed out to me how I was not as good or as strong or just as capable as playing a sport to the point where I rejected sports altogether because the way I was treated by those people, by those kids who were playing those sports, somebody close to me didn't help at all. They kept pressuring me and pushing me to be somebody who I honestly wasn't. And that had a huge effect on me and just how I look at sports, how I look at those people. But, as you get older, you start to realize, well, those are a lot of bad. Yeah, I better start. Yeah, I better say if I want.
Later, he's like, you know what? Maybe this football thing's not so bad.
If you can't beat them, might as well join them.
Hey, in high school, my senior year, I just said, you know what? I'm gonna start beating up nerds.
You and Alan over here.
Hey, nerd, come here.
Get over here, nerd. No, but I don't know. It's just interesting to think about, and I know a lot of our viewers right now, they're probably going through this same shit through school. I don't think any of this ever really changes over the years, but I don't know.
I don't know what to tell people either. All I know is I think there's a middle ground. There's one.
Well, just be be. Well, get to know who you are.
Well, like with me, what I did was I just said I don't totally have to abandon what I am. Mm-hmm. All I have to do is get to a point where, like I said, I learn social skills. I learn how to adapt to certain groups. Mm-hmm. I learn how to stand up for myself if I need to. I mean, shit, even if I was putting comic books out there, I was so big when I was a senior. If somebody did talk shit to me, they'd say, they probably think twice when I say what, right. So it's I don't know, man. All I would say is this, we've said this about whether you're a geek, whether you're gay, whether you like sports or anything, just
whether you suck dick.
I mean, you've accepted it. I mean,
I've done. I've done my part. I've sucked my part.
Yeah. See, Alan, if he can do it, you can do it.
See, Alan already judging me over here.
I know.
What?
And see, and look at him, lips all wet right now.
Tell me how.
Why am I hungry right now? But don't be afraid to be who you are.
That's right.
That's all it comes down to. And you're right. I can tell you the cool thing about this age that we're living in. Mm-hmm. We begin to see that nobody is just one thing.
Oh, no.
I mean, people that you thought would fit one thing, they actually have a side about them that is that you never would expect. I will say this. I think it would help, though. This is what I see with a lot of geeks, though. Mm-hmm. I think it would help that at some point in certain times, learn how to carry yourself. That's all. Learn how to groom yourself. Mm-hmm. Learn how to you can dress cool. You can dress laid back, but you learn how to coordinate. Don't dress like you in third grade when you like going on 48 years old. Shit, Hey, that's all I said. I ain't talking about you. I'm not talking about anybody. I'm saying in general. I said I've seen a lot of geeks do this. I've seen a lot. I mean, shit, at Comic-Con alone, I've seen a lot of 50-year-old fat some motherfuckers, and they walk around like they're 11 years old, man.
I always saw you running away from Cyrus whenever he had his Spider-Man bag with him. So.
Oh yeah, I don't know him. I'm saying when he's walking around with that Spider-Man bag, like he's getting ready to start the first day of school. I'm like, hey man, hey, you got your books and pencils in there, and your crayons. Did you pack a lunch?
Or Leon was looking for a bag. It was Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. bag, and I was like, "You sure you need that?
What you gonna do with that? What really? What are you gonna do with that, man?
Are you Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah.
You hanging out with Nick Fury?